Welcome back, everybody. I'm Nick Driver, and I am a New Mexican. Today, we are going to be talking about the big issue going on here in New Mexico, or I guess, or in Albuquerque, that seems to be hitting the news. Is restaurants struggling to hire back employees as some want to stay on unemployment? Can't say I didn't see this coming. I don't think any of us can say we didn't see this coming. I mean, with the packages and unemployment benefits that they rolled out at the beginning of this pandemic, uh, safe to say this was going to happen. But anyways, let's get into this article and see what they're talking about with this restaurant struggling to hire back employees. So restaurants are struggling to hire employees and are asking customers to be patient as they are trying to fill gaps during service hours. The New Mexico Restaurant Association said statewide restaurants are having a hard time hiring employees due to a number of reasons, including people wanting to stay on unemployment. Imagine that, getting paid to do nothing and they want to keep doing it. That's interesting. Didn't think that would happen. Anyways, Albuquerque companies are using hiring bonuses to or entice potential employees. Wow. Yeah, which places? I'll go. Give me some money right off the bat. I'll quit the next day. No, I'm just kidding. They probably have like a 30-day or a 90-day before you can get your sign-on bonus or whatever. There's usually something like that when it comes to bonuses of hiring. But anyways, so unemployment, unfortunately, right now is fairly lucrative. No, really? And people have figured out how to make that work for their lifestyles, and so they are not coming back to work. Carol White, CEO of New Mexico Restaurants Association, said, anecdotally, I'm talking to restaurants every day and they are having, I had one tell me yesterday that he had 26 interviews set up and only 2 people showed up. And one of them that showed up said he couldn't come to work in September when the unemployment went away. If that's how she actually talked, I don't know, or if this person just misspelled this, but I don't understand how anecdotally, I'm talking to, so I guess it's anecdotally. I had one tell me yesterday that or is it? I don't understand where those commas come in. Anyways, but so they had 26 interviews, only 2 showed up. Well, I don't know what this restaurant is. Must not be that good of a restaurant. But hiring signs can be seen at restaurants around the state. One sign at Sonic on Bridge in Albuquerque is gaining attention on social media. It said, "We are short-staffed. Please be patient with the staff that did show up. No one wants to work anymore." White said restaurants are asking her to share a similar message of patience. So, a GM or a manager at one of the Sonics here in Albuquerque decided to put this sign up on their ordering boxes. If y'all been to Sonic, you know what I'm talking about. Their ordering boxes. So, and it says, "We are short-staffed." It's not that they're short-staffed. It's that they're short-staffed because sales have increased and they haven't done anything to improve it. Lots of these restaurants out there, not to rag on them or anything, but they're small. They can't keep up with the flow of business. I know this for a fact because I worked at one where we had 2 grills running all day long, and yet we were still running 30-minute ticket times. Yeah, it happens, And it's not because we didn't have enough people on staff. It's because we didn't have the equipment to serve that many people in that short amount of time. If that makes sense to you guys, if you've worked in the food industry, you know what I'm talking about. I mean, this is the second. I've had 2 jobs actually like that. Now, my last 2 jobs are both like that. Is we increased the sales to a point that our store couldn't handle anymore with what we had, and when asking for new equipment or better equipment or more equipment or something to help us out, corporates and whatnot would just refuse and say, you hire more people, put more people on staff. I'm sorry, but putting 20 people on a store that barely can fit 13 people in it is not smart, because then you just have people running into each other all day. I mean, yes, you can only staff to a certain point. Let's just say that. You can't. Overstaffing is just as big as the problem as understaffing, because overstaffing, you have wasted labor and people just standing around getting away. Understaffing, you have people working their ass off and getting tired of it. So, let's see. One thing that they're asking me to tell folks is you need to be patient when you go into a restaurant, because we don't have enough cooks. We don't have enough servers. And so, we're doing your best to get to your table and your food may take longer than it did prior to the pandemic, she said. Well, if you have a drive-through, a car hop, or any type of COVID-safe practices used at your restaurants, your sales went up. And you probably didn't hire when your sales are going up. And now your sales are to the point that you feel short-staffed because you weren't hiring during the process of increased sales. So when sales increase, you staff more and you hire more. It's just basic logic. So what's happening now, it seems, is that all these restaurants are losing employees because they're being overworked because the people who are in charge of these restaurants weren't hiring like they should. I know this because at my store that I ran for a year, I hired plenty of people and they stayed the whole time I was there. I only had to fire a few people. Nobody quit because of me. They quit because of their school or because of their parents or the things. They loved coming to work with me and they worked. And, even though it was rough and hard, I worked right alongside them and made them feel not alone. And, we did great. But at the same time, we would get ragged and our regional or our district would come in and just rip us a new one. Even though my sales were up 30%, my labor is at like 20, way below what it's supposed to be. And my inventory was great. So, it's not always the employees and the people. It's usually the leadership. So let's get to that. And for people who have trouble with being patient, stop being selfish. Understand there's other people in front of you and there's people behind you. And there's also only a certain amount of things we can make at a certain time. So yeah, you're going to have to wait. If you don't want to wait, go home and cook yourself. It's not that hard. That's all I'm saying is I worked in the industry. I enjoyed it, don't get me wrong, but during this pandemic, it became hell. So, yeah, I can see why they're struggling to hire people in the restaurant industry. Let's see, according to New Mexico Department of Workforce Solutions, the requirement for a person to actively search for a job to receive benefits is still waived. So they don't have to look for a job while they're on these benefits. I wonder if that's keeping them from going out and getting a job. I don't know. You tell me. But it said those benefits may be affected if an offer suitable is refused. All right. So to me, that says if you offer somebody a job and they refuse it, they should lose their benefits. How do they lose their benefits? I don't know. Let's see. KRQE 13 also asked if the department is able to track if and how many people may be abusing unemployment system. In an email response, a spokesperson from for Workforce Solutions said, it's a federal requirement that claimants must be able and available to accept suitable work in order to qualify for unemployment benefits. This question is asked every week when completing their certification for benefits. A claimant would answer yes when asked this question if they are able and available, which includes the following. They were physically able and to do their work before they lost their job and or left it because of COVID or whatever. They are out of work temporarily due to an employer closure related to COVID and expect to return to their job. They are able and available to work at least 20 hours per week. This includes any type of work which they are qualified, including virtual and or job with flexible hours. They are able to and available to work if they are still currently reduced hours. The department said employers can report a refusal of suitable work to the Department of Employer account with the unemployment insurance tax and claim system. Well, there you go. There's your solution, businesses. There's your solution. Report these people you're offering jobs to that don't show up because they're still going to get benefits even though you offered them a job and they refused it. So report everybody who comes in that you want to hire that just ends up not finishing the process. I had about 5 or 6 employees during the year that I worked there that I hired them. I started them on the hiring process and they just never showed up for the first day. Oh my gosh, my nose is itching. I'm sorry. But whatever, that's on them. But I hope they weren't getting unemployment because they were hired twice, or hired at least. But let's go on. White said the department also has a survey out to learn more about employer staffing situations. She said she has reached out to the department to figure out ways to help with the challenges restaurants are facing. White said other hiring challenges include kids not being back in school full-time, making it hard for some to enter the workforce, and other potential employers leaving to other, more open and other potential employees leaving to other more open states earlier on in the pandemic. So in other words, good employees are leaving. A lot of folks have left New Mexico. Some of our most motivated employees that didn't want to go on unemployment have left for Arizona, Texas, and Colorado. So that's a big deal. I'm calling that the opportunity drain because, we have the brain drain and our college students left. And now we have the opportunity drain that the motivated folks went somewhere else, White said. Okay, so people like me, I'm a motivated guy, and honestly, I would pick up and move out of this state in a second if it wasn't for the fact that I just recently bought a house in this state and don't really have the credentials to be able to sell my house and go get another one in another state. But at the same time, I'm pretty sure I can figure something out. But yeah, I can completely understand why people like me would leave this state. I don't know how many of you guys know the 80-20 rule in business. It's basically 20% of the people do 80% of the work, and then the 80% of the people only do 20% of the work. So you always got your hard workers, your motivated 20%, and then you got your workers, your 80%. Well, that 20% is leaving the state, leaving the rest of the 80% behind. So these stores that are claiming they're understaffed are stuck with these 80%ers who don't really want to work, but they need the money. I don't know if that makes sense to y'all, but basically, why would you waste your time and energy on a company that isn't going to help you, isn't going to reach out, isn't going to motivate you, isn't going to do anything for you except for yell at you because of some stupid piece of paper that wasn't filled out? I don't know. Anyways, let's continue on with KOA. So that was KRQE. Let's see who's Annalisa Pardo. So that was 15th. That was yesterday. All right, and this one's by Shelley Leggett. High-end unemployment rates as business work to fill open positions. All right, so hiring signs hanging windows of restaurants and businesses all around the Duke City. Business owners express it's getting hard to find people to fill their vacant positions. The thing that I don't like about this is it keeps saying restaurants and businesses. I'm pretty sure regular businesses or like retail stores and other stores like that aren't really struggling to find people. They're actually having to weed out people and probably decline people jobs because, like I said, I worked in the food industry for 15 years. I don't want to go back. I don't. After working this pandemic, I don't want to go back. The corporate people are rude. Customers are rude. And then I'm stuck doing all the work because I'm a 20%er. Why would I go back to that? Like, why would I go back to a position that's just going to drain me of my energy and teach me nothing? All right? And then also not pay me enough to do what I'm doing. I mean, maybe if they paid me more, I'd go back. But anyways, Garcia's Kitchen has 8 locations in departments around Albuquerque, New Metro. Dan Garcia, the owner, said he does at least 25 interviews a week and just hired 2 new people for his Wantabo location, but still has about 45 positions he needs to fill. Wow. You're doing 25 interviews a week and you only hired 2 people? Sounds like you're being picky, Dan. Sounds like you're being picky. Maybe you should just start hiring people because you have 45 positions to get filled. Have you ever thought about giving people a chance? Most people who show up for an interview usually want the job they're interviewing for. Usually. I have to say usually because right now it's some uncertain, like we're in those uncertain times of the pandemic and unemployment, like they're saying. As people, like right now, they might be just doing it to get their claimant. But that at the same time, if they're just going to get their, job suitable, whatever reviews for so they can redo their unemployment and you want to hire them, make sure you report them. All right, you're doing 25 interviews a week, and how many of them would you probably hire? You should try and hire them all. And all the ones that refuse, you should report to unemployment. That will help fix your problem. We are trying to make all the stores consistent with the hours that we are open and closed. Right now, we are trying to hire from the stores. Well, yeah, every store should have a general manager or an assistant manager, and those 2 people should be doing interviews all the time, or at least set up 1 day a week to do interviews. It's really not that hard to hire people. Trust me, I've done it for multiple companies for multiple years. Hiring is not the hard part. It comes to training. Training isn't really that hard, but motivating people is probably the hardest part. That's probably the hardest part because you can train people to do things all they want, but motivating them to be fast and wanting to be good and take pride in their work, that's the hard part. But that's what I was good at, and that's why the store I worked at did amazing. I'm not going to brag too much about it, but trust me, people who may have seen me or know me or live in the South Valley and probably understand what I'm talking about. Garcia said finding new employees is like finding a needle in a haystack. No, you're just being picky. We probably gone through in the last year and a half at least 100 employees, Garcia said. He's lost 100 employees in a year and a half during this pandemic. Now, I would say maybe 20 of those employees might have been employees who were scared, afraid to go to, and they left the job because, they were given that option. They were given the option to leave their job and go home because of COVID and get on unemployment. They were allowed to quit and get on unemployment, which is total BS, but whatever. But that couldn't have been 100 employees at your 8 stores. At 8 stores, 100 employees, that's like 4 stores right there that you like. That's way too many employees to be turning over in a year and a half. I don't think the problem is finding employees. I think your problem is your management and leadership styles. Just saying. That goes to all you companies out there right now looking for people. Look into your management and leader styles, and maybe you will hire more people, because your employees will then tell their friends and people they know, oh, it's a good job. My leader, my boss is awesome. He makes my job fun. Wow, what a concept. You know how I hire people at my job? I got my employees to invite their friends to come work with us because they wanted to enjoy their job. It works. It works. But treating people like a slave and working on minimum wage and yelling at them for every minuscule thing that they may have done wrong according to your procedures, even though it doesn't affect anything food safe or anything that food handler wise, yeah, that's probably the issue right there, because you're too anal about things that don't really matter when it comes to taking care of your customer and getting things out in time. Because I guarantee you a customer doesn't care how the burrito is rolled as long as it was made correctly. All right? I guarantee you they don't care how you flip the dang burger as long as the burger comes out cooked. I guarantee you they don't care. They don't care as long as the food comes out good. I get it that you have standards that you want to keep. We all understand standards need to be kept. Standards, companies, yes, they have procedures and they want you to follow them. But at the same time, when you're getting the same quality of product, same everything, except the procedure was done a little different, you should probably get over it. That's why you're losing so many employees, probably. That's why you're probably losing more employees every day, because the first thing you go in and do is tell your GM of a store, or you tell your manager of the store, or you tell an employee of the store, hey, you messed up. Hey, you're not doing that right. Hey, blah, 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 whatever. You're being negative towards them. Instead, you should be coming in like, oh man, you guys are doing awesome. It's busy out there. Good job. Keep it up. Hey, but by the way, we should be doing it this way. See the difference? You should always praise before coaching. And then, I don't know if you've heard this, you should always praise in public, coach in private. So if it's something big, you should never do it in public. Because if you're going to go after an employee in public in front of all the other employees, they're probably going to quit. That's just my leadership spiel. I've run restaurants. I understand. I know exactly how to take care of my employees. Anyways, and he's not the only one. Flying Star, all these other restaurants, the list goes on. Some places are even having to shorten operations, business outlet stuff. Yeah, well, do what you got to do to make your thing, but don't blame people not wanting to work. Blame your lack of commitment. Just saying. It's made it to where sometimes I'm here at Coors location and other locations and people are driving up and wanting to eat and we are closed, Garcia said. That's disappointing to me. Me, if I owned his restaurants and I was at the store and someone pulled up to the store when it was closed, I would personally go open the door and invite them in and make them their food. Especially if we were closing earlier than our normal business hours, especially if our business hours online said we were open for another hour. I would definitely make that person food. It's not that hard, I promise. Lots of these places, they like to say, oh, I just cleaned the grill. Trust me, I understand you just cleaned the grill. I understand you just did that. But it doesn't take time, that much time, to make that extra thing, to go that extra mile, especially when you're the owner of the company. Take care of your guest and your employees. It's not always about the guest. You want your guest taken care of? Take care of your employees. And maybe they won't quit. Maybe you won't have 100 employees leave your restaurant in a year because of you. Anyways, right now there are nearly 92,000 New Mexicos receiving unemployment benefits and even more nationwide. I think that sometimes people can get paid the same whether they stay home or go to work, Garcia said. Yeah, they probably could right now with this whole COVID thing going on. But at the same time, it's like, what do you expect from these people who went home and were sent on unemployment and didn't have to go look for jobs, didn't have really anything to do except for sit at home and go online and watch TV and do all that stuff? Well, when you're constantly being berated by all these news channels and all your social media is talking about how COVID-19 is the killer, it's going to end time, blah, 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 all that stuff, yeah, you're probably scared to go back to work. I know I lost one employee because she was scared to work because of all the stuff she was hearing. And I'm just like, you're young. You have nothing to worry about. But she still ended up quitting because she was scared. Who do you blame on that? Who do you blame for the being scared to go out in public and work? Do you blame the employees for not wanting to work? Or do you blame the politicians who have been pushing this propaganda and these authoritarian lockdowns? I don't know. I would say the politicians. And then also when it comes to losing employees, I would say it comes down to the leadership, not the employees most of the time. Garcia said with a diverse range of positions and increased wages, he hopes to attract more potential employees to help keep the store open. If you come in one day, we hope to have them working the next day, Garcia said. According to the New Mexico Department of Workforce Solutions website, if you are looking to certify your weekly unemployment benefits, you are required to make a minimum of 2 different work search contacts every week qualified. Okay, so this one is saying that they are required to do their 2 contacts every week. This one was saying that it would be waived, that the requirement for a person to be actively searching for a job to receive benefits is waived. So what am I supposed to believe? I got one news site saying it's not, one news site saying it is. I'm guaranteeing it probably is. And this Garcia and this restaurants and this, if you're looking for employees and you're doing 25 interviews a week, start hiring people. Just hire them. Give them a chance. If they refuse, report them. This is a two-way street. It's a two-way street. You were saying they're not out trying to get jobs. No, you guys aren't hiring people because you're being picky. Also, you're saying they're staying at home on benefits. Well, it's because you're not hiring enough people or trying to hire people like you should and then reporting them when they don't do their thing. Saying, I offered him a job and he didn't do his online boarding or his paperwork to start the job. You know, I offered it to him and gave it to him and everything, but he just never completed it. You see? When you report it, then he gets off his unemployment, and then now he actually has to go out and work. He might not come work for you because you ratted him out, but hey, that person will have to go get a job now because you ratted him out. Which there's nothing wrong with that. According to everything here you're complaining about, there's nothing wrong with that, and that's what they want you to do. And I agree. Here's 3 simple things. Hire everybody that comes to the interview. Talk to them, hire them. As long as they pass your background check, give them a chance. That's all I'm saying. Just give them a chance. You're saying you're short-staffed, give them a chance. All right? Second, work on your leadership styles. Train your management teams and your corporate people and your district managers or whoever. Teach them how to actually be a leader and to lead by example and not to berate everybody they meet. Then 3, report them when you offer them a job and they don't come. Solutions. Instead of complaining, saying that people are sitting on unemployment because they don't want to work. Solutions. Anyways, that's all I got for you today. Thanks, everybody. I'm Nick Driver, and I am a New Mexican. Take care. Oh, man. I'm really bad at ending these things. You know that? I'm really bad at ending these things. But anyways, take care.